there is something, like, in many ways beautiful about that. My ancestors, many had died or had to give up their livelihood, their human dignity, to provide a safe haven for Jews in our world. I got a text message from a friend who's like, hey, next time, really clarify, maybe talk like a fourth grader, because maybe the racist idiots would understand you better.
Well, that was Michigan Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib defending her comments on Israel and the Holocaust after criticism from many Republicans. The freshman Democrat telling Seth Meyers last night she needs to dumb down her remarks to get through to, as you just heard, quote, racist idiots. Let's bring in Congressman David Kustoff, the Republican from Tennessee. He sits on the Financial Services Committee with Tlaib, and as I mentioned earlier, you're one of two Jewish members of the House, Republican members of the House, I should say. And you offer a unique reaction this morning. What was your response when you originally heard her comments?
Well, it's amazing to me that any congressman would reference the Holocaust metaphorically. I just don't see how that is smart at all. And I was really taken aback by her comments. But Sandra, also, it's cumulative, because we've seen really other Democrat members throughout the last 3 or 4 months make these anti-Semitic remarks. They're cumulative, they pile up, and at some point we really need to see the Democratic leadership stand up and take a stand to show the nation and really the world that Congress won't tolerate these types of remarks.
And we heard similar comments from Lee Zeldin, the other Jewish Republican in the House, who is identifying what he is seeing, a rising trend of anti-Semitic acts and rhetoric inside and outside the walls of Congress. I want to replay her original remarks so that we can dig into that and see how maybe she could have responded that would have appeased concern about these words. Here she is.
Right.
There's a kind of a calming feeling, I always tell folks, when I think of the Holocaust and the tragedy of the Holocaust, and the fact that it was my ancestors, Palestinians, who lost their land and some lost their lives. All of it was in the name of trying to create a safe haven for Jews.
She, Congressman, makes the case that her words were pulled out of context. So we wanted to make sure we aired her remarks there so everyone could hear. She says her words were twisted. You heard that again last night. She doubled down on that. Nancy Pelosi, the leader of the party in the House, she said that this has been a smear attempt, and she called it outrageous, defending Tlaib's remarks.
Yeah, those are just throw-off comments by the Speaker and the Democratic leadership. The fact of the matter is that what the Democratic Congresswoman said is hurtful to a lot of people, not only in Congress, but across the country and across the world. It needs to stop. It needs to stop from within the walls of Congress and from the Democratic. There have been several Democratic congressmen who have made these types of remarks since the beginning of January. It's really time now for the Democratic leadership to step up and put the word out, not only to the Democratic members, but to the rest of the nation, that we, the leaders of Congress, won't tolerate this type of talk, especially from members of Congress.
Here's Nancy Pelosi in her own words. She tweeted this out. Republicans' desperate attempts to smear Rashida Tlaib and misrepresent her comments are outrageous. President Trump and House GOP should apologize to Rep. Tlaib and the American people for their gross misrepresentations. How do you directly respond to the Speaker saying you should apologize?
Yeah, you know what I say? Watch the tape. Listen to the tape, what she said, how she said it, how in the last day or so she's doubled down. The clip that you ran at the beginning of this segment talking about fourth graders. I think any fourth grader understands the Holocaust and the significance of the Holocaust, and that you don't reference the Holocaust the way that she, in fact, referenced it. It's offensive.
Is it possible her words were taken out of context and that, Republicans who are speaking out against this aren't really looking into the true meaning of her words?
No, I think you listen to the comments, view the comments, and I ask you and any viewer, why bring up the Holocaust in that way to begin with. It just doesn't make any sense.
I just wanted to finish with this because we had our brain room dig up what you and Lee Zeldin had pointed out on this program about the rising rate of anti-Semitic acts and rhetoric. And this is from the ADL, Fighting Anti-Semitism and Hate. And they report that in 2018, there were 1,879 reported anti-Semitic incidents throughout the U.S. And for the total year, it was 48% higher than the number of incidents in 2016 and 99% higher than in 2015. So there is a trend there. Congressman, we really appreciate your time this morning. And if you have any last thoughts, please share them.
Well, when we talk about the rise in anti-Semitism, look over the last 6-7 months at the 2 synagogue shootings that we've had in California and in Pittsburgh. It's glaring. But here's my point is, we're the leaders of this nation. And for members of Congress to talk about anti-Semitism the way that she's talked about it and other members, we have got to stop, and the Democratic leadership needs to send the signal to stop it.
Congressman Kustoff, thank you.
Thank you, Sandra.